this big stellium of planets brings us to our auspicious election for this month, which is the most fortunate chart that Lisa Scheim and I were able to find in our Auspicious Elections podcast this month. And we actually, in doing the year ahead report late last year, we really focused in on May, especially because May is one of the best months for electional astrology of this year, where you have the greatest preponderance of positive placements that don't have downsides, and you have the least amount of like major downsides or afflicted planets out of any other time of the year, especially compared to later in the year, where we're going to deal with stuff like the Mars-Uranus conjunction this summer, or the Mars-Jupiter conjunction, or especially the Mars retrograde that's going to dominate the later part of this year. Here's the electional chart for this month, which is set for May 14th, 2024 at about 12:30 p.m. local time. So if you cast a chart for May 14th and then set it to 12:30 in your location, whatever your city is, you should end up with a chart that looks approximately like this with Leo rising. So you want the ascendant to be in Leo in your location. And the major feature of this chart is it has Leo rising, and the ruler of the ascendant is the sun, which is at 24 degrees of Taurus. And it's applying very closely within 3 degrees to a conjunction with Jupiter in a day chart in the 10th house. We also see that Venus is there in the 10th house in Taurus, not too far away. And the moon is in Leo in the first house, where it's applying to a square with Venus. So this is a very 10th house focused chart that would be a great chart for career, reputation, public life, and all sorts of other 10th house matters, just because you have a packed 10th house with a stellium there, with both benefics present and with the ruler of the ascendant fully bona fide, which is to be in one of the best conditions possible, where its condition is being improved and affirmed by the benefic Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
So great chart for starting different types of ventures and undertakings at this time.
Yeah, I feel like looking at this chart, I also feel like this could be an excellent chart for updating components of your more professional wardrobe or professional appearance type things, potentially maybe website updates, but particularly if you are wanting to shift something in how you are showing up, that combination looks very favorable for what might look like sudden updates according to other people because of Uranus's participation, but that ultimately give you a firmer foundation in showing up well.
Yeah, for sure. And especially doing something unique or innovative, because
Hmm.
the chart does feature Uranus so prominently that to whatever
Hmm.
extent you're able to incorporate that actively as doing something that stands out from the crowd, or doing
Hmm.
something that's different from what people have done before, then you'll
Hmm.
be able to take that energy in your own hands and sort of use it to your advantage.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so the chart's not very good for ninth house matters related to things like foreign travel. So I wouldn't necessarily use it for that, because Mars is in the ninth house in a day chart. But otherwise, it's a very fortunate chart that we would recommend using if you have anything major to start at this time, or any major things that you need to do.
Hmm.
So Leeson actually found so many good charts this month. We found 18 between 18 and 20 auspicious elections this month, that we put in our auspicious elections report for patrons.
It's like you
So
usually share like four.
yeah, four
Yeah.
or so is our like typical, and sometimes
Yeah.
we'll like throw in a few extras. But because the charts are so good this month, that we decided to just like throw in all of them,
Hmm.
especially because it kind of makes up for other months where things are more difficult and we have like a harder time finding really good charts. So this is our way of offsetting things.
Hmm.
So if people want to get access to those charts, you can get access to that private podcast series and all those charts, which is a benefit to patrons of the Astrology Podcast if you just go to our page on patreon.com and sign up. So you can find out more information about that at patreon.com/astrology podcast, and I'll put a link to it in the description for this episode.